Hello everyone, we're finally at the stage where we're going to make our meringue. There are three types of meringues that you can make. There's the normal meringue where you whisk the egg whites and slowly incorporate some sugar. There is the Italian meringue where you cook the sugar to a certain temperature while you're whisking the egg whites. And when the sugar hits a certain temperature, then you slowly add it into the whisking egg whites. We're not going to do that today because not all of you have a thermometer, and we're going to do the Swiss meringue. And the Swiss meringue is where you cook your egg whites and your sugar over a little bit of simmering water, and then we will transfer it to our whisk, to our stand mixer, whisk it until it becomes nice and fluffy and very, very stable. Okay, so what you want to have is a pot and another pot or bowl, heat-proof bowl on top. There is some water in here already that's simmering. I might increase it a little bit over here, the heat. And you don't want the bowl touching the water, right? Now, everything that you see here, including the bowls and the whisk and everything I'm going to use right now, I've sterilized, so there is absolutely no fat content, because any kind of fat, it can be egg yolk, it can be dust, it can be anything that stayed on your pots or your pans or your whisk, that can hurt your meringues, all right? That's the enemy of meringue, and we don't want that. So how do I clean it? I just take some kitchen paper, put a little bit of vinegar on it, and just rub everything. Really just a little bit, that's more than enough. You can also do it with half a lemon, that would do the same thing. So for our Swiss meringue, I'm going to use egg whites and the sugar. In the sugar, I already put a little pinch of salt. And if you like, you can also use cream of tartar. I know this is not widely available to everyone, but just really a little pinch of this can help stabilize your meringue. I'm not going to use it now because not everyone has it. And what we're going to do is we're going to incorporate these two ingredients together here in this bowl. It's already warm from the water, and I'm going to whisk it until it reaches 79 degrees Celsius. I'm not going to use my thermometer. I'm going to show you a trick on how to do this. I see my water started really boiling, so I'm going to lower it a little bit. I don't want it to be boiling too rapidly. So I'm going to incorporate the egg whites, the sugar with a pinch of salt. So what I have here is actually 5 egg whites, which makes about 190 grams. And I have 240 grams of sugar and a pinch of salt. In the recipe, I recommend to use 4 egg whites and 200 grams of sugar. But because I want to show you a piping method that requires a little bit more meringue, I've just added 1 more egg, just to be on the safe side that I have everything. But I basically have enough to show you the piping. Anyway, extra meringue has never been a problem, really. Okay, so I'm whisking everything together, and when this mass becomes warm, and when I touch it with my finger, I don't feel any grains of sugar, that's when I know it's ready. If you're using fine sugar like I do, this will only take a few minutes. If you're using regular sugar, it's not a problem. It just might take a little bit more. Now, the one thing that we don't want here, other than any kind of fat, is any kind of sugar grains going into our mixer when we're transferring it. So after I check this mixture and I'll see that it's completely smooth, I'm going to use a spatula to take everything around here into the mass, scrape everything in there and whisk it for a minute longer just to make sure nothing gets in there. And that's very important because if we have some sugar grains, that can potentially hurt our meringue. We won't be able to see it immediately. It will still get stiff like peaks. It will be a stiff meringue. But later, if you put it in the refrigerator, the moisture in the refrigerator might melt it. And then you'll get like this sugar, watery thing that will soften up your crust. Anyway, it's not something that we want. So I'm continuing to whisk here. Okay, so I'm going just to use 2 fingers, clean fingers, and rub it between my fingers. I feel absolutely no grains here right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure there are no little sugar grains stuck anywhere here. It's really important. And I'm going to give it another whisk. Rubbing it again. Yes, it feels warm and it feels totally smooth, not grainy. So I'm going to close my heat, remove it. I'm just gonna wipe this. I don't want any water to enter as well. And then I'm just gonna put everything in my mixer. All right, and I'm gonna start mixing on low. If I touch my bowl right now, I can feel that it's warm. I just want to cool it off a little bit before it's ready, before it's completely stiff. So I'm going to give it a few seconds, just like this. Maybe this is better. This is the mixer that I'm using. This is an Ankersum mixer. I use it also for doughs, but any mixer will do actually, really whatever you have. Preferably a stand mixer. Okay, I'm increasing the speed a little bit. My bowl is warm. Medium. Yes, much better. I'm going to increase it to medium high. Okay, I'm going to stop it for a second just to kind of show you the consistency in here now. You can see it's still very fluid. That means I need a bit more. So you really want to reach the consistency of stiff peaks, and I'll show you what that means. I'm increasing this to high. And I also don't want to be over whipping this. I don't want to add too much air in there. So when it looks like it starts to come together, I will stop it every minute or so. But you can see this is still not ready. Better be stopping this every few seconds rather than over whipping. Over whipping basically means there's too much air in there, so you don't get that really nice marshmallowy fluff. So this is looking much better, but you see it's not holding itself. So I'm gonna give it a few seconds more. Still not there. Much better. Do you see it's becoming stiffer? But if I hold it up, do you see these peaks? They're still not stiff. I'm gonna give it a bit more. Much better, but still not completely stiff. Just want to give it a little bit more. Let's have a look. This one is really holding itself together. Can you see that? This one is not. I'm just gonna kind of turn it a little bit with my hand to grab. A little bit more. Yes, this is looking really good to me. Okay, so do you see these stiff peaks? It's okay if it's a little bit. But this looks really, really good. What's important is that if you are making a smaller tart, I wouldn't recommend making less than the 4 egg whites because your mixer might not be able to mix that meringue well enough. So what I'm going to do now is take this beautiful, very, very stiff mixture, and what I'm going to do is put it in a piping bag and show you how I pipe it. See you soon.